Hey everybody, it's here to you, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. In the previous episode, we saved the last of the Zora eggs, and made our way into the next dungeon. And today's episode, we're beginning our explorations through the Great Bay Temple. Wow, that's a huge water wheel! It looks like it's turning because of the sheer force of the water coming through the pipe. So, the big gameplay gimmick with this dungeon is that we'll be playing with a lot of water physics, such as changing the water current, and mainly it's due to these pipes right here. Basically what that means is that we'll be changing the direction these pipes are going to try to solve puzzles throughout the place. That's basically how it's going to work. It's going to make more sense as we go along this area. And something that I gotta say about the Great Bay Temple is that within the Majora's Mask community, Great Bay Temple is seen as like the fan-hated dungeon of this game. Everybody just doesn't like this dungeon for one reason or another, whether it's confusing to them or something like that. This is not my opinion at all. In fact, I'm gonna go as far as to say Great Bay Temple is my favorite dungeon in the Zelda series. Not just this game, in the Zelda series. This opinion is probably going to be changing in a couple weeks or so, because I always flip-flop between a couple of dungeons of the Zelda series, but in my current mindset, I absolutely love the Great Bay Temple. This is one of my favorite dungeons in the entire Zelda series, and I legitimately do not understand why so many people hate it. So, the big gameplay gimmick, like I said, will be changing the water currents and messing with the pipes and things like that. And as you can see, there's another wheel over there, but there's no water going through this pipe right here, so we need to change that. I get it. The huge water wheel is powering this thing. So this is gonna be a pretty important thing to remember for later. But as for now, we're just gonna be following the pipes, starting off with the very top room. Okay. Let's try that again. There we go. Go through the room! I never had this much trouble before, and we're out of magic, of course we are! Ah! Okay, so we're gonna be going over here just real quick because there's something pretty interesting that I want to demonstrate. Never mind, we can't do that yet. Alright, those sparkling water things, those are kind of important, which we'll be getting into soon enough. Okay, so let's secure that guy real quick. There we go. Okay, so the big thing about this dungeon is that so many people get confused on where you're supposed to go in this place. They never know what you're supposed to do. And honestly, I don't get it. The thing with this dungeon is that once you figure out the pattern for where you're supposed to go, it's very easy. It's probably one of the more easier dungeons in this game, to be completely honest, because the thing is, you start the dungeon, you go into the central room, you follow the pipes and work your way down, and then that's pretty much it. You work your way down the central room. I don't understand why so many people get confused about this. It's like, it's so simple. How do so many people get confused on that? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Okay, we'll be going into here and activating this treasure chest of awesomeness. And you don't have creepy glitchy guys. That's only for the Goron Link. I still don't understand how that happened. So, let's just hear this. Ah! Okay, that's a new enemy. Okay, this right here, this is a Dexa hand. So basically what we want to do with this guy is use your Zora Boomerang Fins of Awesomeness to destroy it. And it's awesome. Yay! And in here, it's a key. Alright. So, one thing that's definitely worth mentioning about this dungeon is that what am I trying to say? I completely lost my train of thought, so we're just going to move on to an entirely new topic. Something that's very worth mentioning is that you see on the corner of the screen, but I went ahead and bought a Chateau Armani off screen. This is pretty much a necessity for this dungeon. Like I said earlier, the Zora swimming controls were nerfed in this game. They're completely locked behind magic, and it's really, really stupid. But the Chateau Armani makes it so you have unlimited magic throughout the entire time cycle. And this is pretty good and all. But keep in mind, Chateau Vermani is only available in one store that is only open at 10 o'clock at night. So you lose a huge chunk of time trying to get this bottle when you don't need it in the first place because the swimming controls are perfect. And keep in mind, this is not my least favorite change that they've made in Majora's Mask 3D. We're going to get to that soon enough. And oh boy, do I have some words about that. But we're going to get to that soon enough. Let's secure that guy. I never have the patience to fight those enemies without taking any damage. I don't care that I take a little bit of damage from that. So, that right there, we got a key. I see a lot of people get confused about that one because a lot of people go through this area not knowing where you're supposed to get that key from, but as we saw a moment ago, if you follow the strategy of starting the central room and working your way down, following the pipes, you'll eventually come across the key. I don't understand why some people get confused by it. But, over here, we have a new enemy. It's Mike Wazowski! Oh no! Alright, it is mid-boss time. It's to secure that. And this enemy right here, if title can't lock onto it apparently, so this enemy right here is a big game blah 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 blah. I cannot say gameplay gimmick right now. So the big idea with this dungeon boss enemy thingy is that we need to take care of all these bubbles and stuff like that, because these are pretty much going to be acting as like a shield for the big eyeball. And I apologize if I keep turning down my 3DS audio. It's kind of weird commentating when I can hear the game, because the thing is, I've been commentating with the capture card for so long that I don't really need to hear the game anymore. I mean, I can't anyway, even if I wanted to, because of the fact that if I have my game audio too loud, then it'll pick up on the mic. But in this game's case, this is the only way that I can record 3DS audio, because I don't have my audio keyboard with me. But anyway, yeah, the bubbles, the big idea with that is that you want to knock them away from the eyeballs so that it'll eventually lose its protection. You can also use the hook shot and things like that to knock the bubbles off. So let's secure this. Alright, so this is what I want. I want arrows for this guy. And come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Open your eyeball and come to me. There we go. Okay. Okie dokie. We could have had a good shot right there. Center the room, center the room, center the room, center the room, center the room. Come on, 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 come on. What? Ah! The chest was over there? Why was it over there? I want to be on top of the treasure chest. Oh, I'm sad now. But anyway, we have the Dungeon of the Item. Did I say that backwards? This is the Ice Arrow. The thing with Ice Arrows in the Zelda series is that they generally suck. So the thing with them is that they're very situational in most Zelda games. And also I'm going to switch over to the bottom screen real quick so you can see how I'm going to be rearranging my items real quick. So just like what I said about having my more useful items over here, I also like having my arrow types up here, so that's something that's very well worth mentioning if you're crazy like me. So let's equip our ice arrows. And the thing I was saying a moment ago was that ice arrows generally suck in Zelda games because they're very situational. That is not the case with the Majora's Mask, because in this game, you can freeze the water, which can cause some platforms to appear, which can have so many interesting gameplay ideas with the platforming, and can also freeze enemies to create the water platform things. This is half true. In the Nintendo 3DS version, you can only freeze certain enemies, and in Majora's Mask on the Nintendo 64, this would freeze the platform on the water. That is not the case anymore. Instead, you can only freeze certain parts of the water. This is my least favorite change in Majora's Mask 3D, and I apologize in advance because I'm going to be going on a big rant right now, but this is generally the worst change that they made in this game, because it completely ruins my favorite dungeon. That, combined with the Zora swimming control changes, completely ruined my favorite dungeon in this game. We have a slow swimming controls when they were perfect on the original version. We have very, very limited options on where we can shoot this item when it was so open in the original game and it was so perfect, but now it holds your hand and pretty much gives you the solution to the puzzles. Like this right here, we had to figure out on the original version, oh, we can shoot the water to create platforms to get to that chest. That's interesting. But no, in this version, it completely takes that away from you. It gives you the solution. This is honestly worse than anything Fi ever did in Skyward Sword. This is the worst change that they have made in any Zelda remake to date. We get the dungeon map, and that's pretty cool and all, but I honestly don't care right now because I'm too angry about the stupid ice arrow changes. Sorry in advance for that, but I need to get that off my chest. It makes me so upset that they did that because I always looked forward to this place whenever I played Majora's Mask. I loved the Great Bay Coast. I love the Great Bay Temple. It was one of my favorite... Did we not? Oh, I wasn't using ice arrows. But yeah, only certain enemies and certain platforms now are affected by ice arrows. It's like, what's even the point anymore? It really bothers me. This is definitely one of my least favorite changes that they've ever made in a Zelda game. And it's my absolute least favorite thing that they've done in the remake. It is so stupid. I hate this change. And like I was saying a moment ago, this was a place that I always looked forward to whenever I played the Nintendo 64 version. But now, between the Zora swimming controls... He tried blowing me up in the cutscene. But yeah, between changing the Zora controls to make them worse when they were already perfect, to dumbing down the ice arrows to the point where it's not even fun to solve these puzzles anymore, it's just a really, really bad change all around, and it really makes me upset. Alright, so I'm kind of wanting to find arrows because... we're completely out of them, and we need to find some more pretty soon. The giant boxes at the beginning of the dungeon, they will give you... can I please surface? There we go. I'm trying to say. The boxes at the beginning of the dungeon, next to the turtle, they will give you arrows, so that's definitely worth mentioning. I need to go grab some because I'm very low on arrows right now. Please have arrows. Just rubies. Oh boy, isn't that exciting? Oh boy, more rubies. Where are the frickin' arrows? There we go. Okay, that's one thing that kind of bothers me about most 3D Zelda games is that a lot of the Zelda games are kind of bad at judging when you're going to need certain items. Because you have situations like this where we absolutely need arrows, but they just keep giving us rubies and magic potions when we already have Chateau Harmonie activated, so we don't need potions anymore. Alright, so let's destroy these. You're definitely going to need arrows for what's coming up pretty soon. And, continuing on the trend of making previous items continuously be awesome, we need to use a fire arrow in this area. So that's pretty nice. If I remember correctly, the fire and ice arrows, they do the same amount of damage. They do a bit more damage than a regular arrow. I don't remember off the top of my head, though, so I'm going to have a caption on screen correcting me if I'm wrong. But now we've seen this guy before, so what you want to do for this guy, you want to fire your arrow at him. And, using the super handy-dandy powers of the ice arrows, lock onto him once again. I said lock onto him. Okay, well, this right here is kind of a funny attack, where you, like, just straight up uppercuts. Link is like, sure you can! Okay, so, what you want to do right here, when he's back upwards, that didn't work. Okay, so, you want to wait for him to be at the very top, and then use the ice arrows to freeze him, and that will cause the thing to shower, which will leave him open for attack once again. You keep going for the bubbles and things like that, and if I remember correctly, you can only ever attack him once before he gets into the thing again. So I'm going to switch over to fire arrows to use for attacking, because they will deal more damage than just a plain arrow. And we have shot 2 more money anyway, so it's not like we really need to conserve magic or anything like that. Alright. This is a pretty simplistic boss fight, to be honest. It's probably one of the more simplistic ones in the game. Not necessarily simplistic, but more so, this is kind of a very routine boss fight. We're just gonna keep going back and forth like this until Gecko's dead. So, yeah, not one of my favorite dungeon bosses, mid-boss things. It's a fun idea, don't get me wrong, and I really like how fluid the goop looks, so when it's going up and down, things like that. And the thing is, it still looks impressive on the Nintendo 64 version. There we go, we defeated Gecko! Alrighty then, so, with all taken care of, let's go inside this room. And that frog is going to be important for our side quest we'll take care of a little bit later down the line. But now we're taking care of all that, let's open up the chest, and what could it be, 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 what could it be? You got the boss key! And that's bringing this video off here. So, thank you all so much for watching this episode of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. And next time, I need to get rid of you. Oh yeah.